I'm sure a lot has changed between when you were younger in your 20s and your current practice. Can you be more specific about that? I believe that karate training and instruction also change with one's development. In my 20s, I was competing in matches, so I trained to win matches. But at the same time, I tried to train to become stronger in essence. I tried various things with ingenuity. I also watched various tournaments and visited dojos. I had a strong desire to improve as much as possible. Now, I practice mainly kata. My senpais laugh at me and say, "Why are you talking about kata now? You never practiced kata before, did you?" When I was in my 30s, my body was still able to move, but I was vaguely concerned about whether I would be able to continue to move like this when I got even older in the future. So I decided to take another look at kata. To be honest, I had been doing kata without thinking about it, but I realized that there was something great in it, and I began to study the meaning of kata again and to learn how to use my body from kata. However, it's not the same as kata for showing to others or for competition. Did you start paying attention to kata after you retired from competition? No, it was shortly before that. I had learned and devised a lot of things, but then, what a wonderful thing was right in front of me. That's how I feel now. The quest is still going on and on. That's wonderful. When I was in my 20s, I trained with the mindset that I would never lose to anyone, including not only other styles of karate, but also boxing, kickboxing, judo, etc. And I also studied those techniques. And I also consulted with a university professor and received guidance on physical strengthening. I did not just seek to lift weights such as bench presses and squats, but I tried to improve the connection and instantaneous power of the entire body, which was a good thing that is still useful today. I learned both technique and strength training from many different people. Then, when I was about 32 or so, I opened my own dojo and started teaching children. I began to want to teach kata. I myself had experience in Shotokan, and Azuma Sensei was also doing Kyokushin kata at that time. But I had my own doubts about kata, so I went to Okinawa to learn the essence of kata, and I had the experience of being rolled again and again by a sensei I met there without being able to resist. At the time, I didn't know what was going on or why it was happening, so I started to learn there, but then the sensei passed away, and after that, there was no one else who could use his techniques. Therefore, I learned not only other Okinawan karate, but also various kobujutsu and Chinese kung fu, and it took me almost 10 years to master that secret by myself. In this context, my own interpretation is that kata is first of all about learning how to use the body. I also believe that it is about looking at myself and improving myself from the inside out. I believe that one of the purposes of Budo is to realize a peaceful society. To achieve this, it is not enough to just fight with others. I felt that kata is important for us to look at ourselves, to improve ourselves, and to improve each other with others. What we can do because we live in a peaceful Japan is to deepen ourselves through our techniques and our bodies, and to improve our inner selves. Unlike when I was younger, I do not do weight training at all now, but by pursuing the use of my body, my punches and kicks are more powerful now than when I was an active competitor. I believe that my techniques and movements are faster and more powerful now. The same goes for me. We can still grow. Anyway, that Okinawan sensei is amazing. I am interested. I believe that Budo has a significant role to take on in a world of corona disasters or constant welfare. I believe that only by growing ourselves can we help others grow and move things forward. The use of the body is very interesting. Deepening the sense of the body leads to deepening the essence of Budo and the essence of things. It should also be able to protect you and your loved ones as a self-defense technique, and its aspect as a health method is also important. Through pursuing the use of the body, I am learning and growing as well. Please introduce any recent notice in the use of your body. We make perceptions and judgments through thoughts, such as knowledge, information, and experience. However, I believe that information obtained from the body is much greater in purity, quality, and quantity. I have experienced that by moving the body from deep within, we can emphasize and harmonize with others. When we can harmonize with our opponents in daily dojo practice without creating an axis of conflict and without antagonism, we can control them while making the most of them. Budo is peace-oriented and stop conflict. It is Budo and Budoka who can work on changing the world by eliminating conflict within themselves in search of what is essential and changing themselves. The essential struggle is the struggle against oneself, and I believe that winning that battle is the training and the Budo. I totally agree with what Osada sensei said. I often say that practice should be fun. Facing our body and mind, we should do it with a smile on our face. Smiling is different from laughing. I feel that if we face ourselves, our minds, and our bodies through practice, we can smile. When I smile, it is transmitted to the students, and the whole dojo becomes like that. I visited Naka sensei's dojo, and that is really a wonderful dojo. Everyone was practicing seriously and having fun. Such practice also makes life more fulfilling. The sense of fulfillment is a major component of happiness. There are many different values, but I think it is important that we all share this sense of satisfaction and grow together. And in the dojo, as the sensei, I have to show that first. So I want to practice while disciplining myself every day. And I want to learn while meeting various people. There is one technical matter that surprised me recently. I had a discussion about posture with a student of a famous French ballet dancer. At the time, I learned ballet posture, and there are many detailed demands on the body in ballet, such as straightening this side and constructing that side. So I finished up feeling that it was too difficult for me to do. However, one day, when I was doing the kata in my self-training, I noticed that the first movement of standing with both hands together had many elements in common with what I had learned from the ballet teacher. When I strike from this posture, my torso becomes very strong. It was the first time in my 45 years of karate life that I realized that there was such a meaning in the movements of rei, yoi, and so on, which I had done only casually until then. I felt very embarrassed and wondered what I had been learning in all my karate life. I was surprised that they matched, although ballet is in a way artificial and martial arts are natural. I later had that ballet teacher do it, and he said that they were indeed the same. It is wonderful that we can understand each other. What comes out of the body is important. When we can listen to what comes out of our bodies, we can discover many things. From one thing, it expands and becomes more and more interesting. It's hard to understand until you experience it, but you will be hooked once you do. There are new things to notice and new questions to ask, and it never ends. Before, I didn't understand why the predecessors always were saying about kata. To be honest, there were times when I thought, Sensei can't do kumite anymore, so he must be running away from that and talking about kata. But now that I'm getting older, I finally understand. There is surprise and gratitude there, and naturally I am forced to be humble. Karate-do and Budo are wonderful. We have changed our name to Kudo, but our search for the way there remains the same. There are still important things in what our predecessors have done. Our role is to appreciate them and make them even better. That is where the way lies. I really hope to fulfill the role that Budo should play in today's world, starting from the places close to us.